We're live.
Hey.
Hey. Oh,
Hey.
no.
Our intro took a beating right there. Yeah.
All hat and no cattle there. What happened? Our sound? Anyway, we do have a fabulous introduction that we'll have to tune in next month to experience.
This is the 13th because this is one of those shows where oh, hey, we're gonna try it again. You want to try it again?
Let's take a break. Let's take it from the top.
All right.
It's all about art, all about art, all about art. With David Reed, Tom Galvin, and Joe Moye.
Now it's normal.
Now we can officially start the show. This is now the beginning of the show.
We are redeemed. Thank you.
Thank you, Shantae.
Well done, Shantae.
Yeah.
Our hero.
How are you?
I am good, actually. Frozen.
You guys were busy playing music last night. Just blocks apart on Plymouth Street.
It was active for Joe and I on Plymouth last night. We were both very active.
Beautiful. You know what? I actually was down on Plymouth several times this weekend. My little brother's here, so we went down. We went to the Happy Viking and watched a little football and had some. And honestly, our street is like the best place to hang out. It's just
Plymouth
so cool.
is great. I think Plymouth is great. I do.
It's better every day, right?
Yeah, just certainly what the combination of the Arts Council and Yuba Sutter Arts and Sutter Theater melding and joining hands and creating this combination is going to be a big asset to the block. But the block is a great place.
It is. Well, it's such a destination. You have so many really fine eating establishments, and then there's the Sawyer's Candy Shop, and then we have these events out on the street or in the theater. It's just such a beautiful artistic kind of place to go.
So cool last night. I should mention this. I was going in to set up what I was doing in the art atrium at the Sutter Theater, and there was a small film crew. Brady? Is that her last name?
Frankie McCabe.
Frankie McCabe, yes, was filming our friend Clark Bushman. She knew him from the open stage, and she wanted to do some film work that would look kind of like an impressive background. So I go into setup, and there's Clark, and I'm thinking, Clark, if you're going to be my opening act, go inside.
Well, it was fun having that scene out there because Tom was performing in our Atrium Vibe series, doing the first one, and so he was, as he said, he was setting up, and we knew nothing about this, but about 5:30, a crowd starts showing up out front, and I saw Clark first, and I said, "Hey, Clark, what's going on here?" And he says, "Well, we're doing a video with Frankie McCabe," and I went, "Oh, wow." And then she arrived, and we've been chatting on Facebook and trying to find some common ground, and she said she needed a scene that looked like musicians going into a talent show. So it was like perfect. So they lined up out in front, and that was the whole gig. So later on, it looked like a crowd out in front for your concert, Tom. I got so excited.
Yeah, I did too. They left actually before the concert, but I just realized that I was one of the extras, and I was carrying my stuff in, so I was one of the extras in their movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What are the royalties gonna? Yeah. I want to know about the royalties, though. I mean,
she messaged me about the intent. They're looking for American Idol kind of thing. And I had put her in contact with you, David, over at the Arts Council. But I knew she was planning on shooting outside, but I had no idea it was going to be last night. So I got emails too at Clark. I saw Clark out in front, and I thought, well, isn't Tom playing? I thought Tom was playing.
Hey, it was a doubleheader. And then you were down the street.
You showed up before your Sopatai gig, so it was like really a fun evening.
By the way, the Atrium. Now, I really want you to share this story with our crowd because I am in love with the cleverness of the Artrium.
Thank you, Abby Cecina, managing director, and just all-around creative, amazing person. So.
That is just so cool. What a great concept, and it fits so well. What you guys did last night was just so inviting. I walked in, I wasn't able to stay, but it is the dream that I've had from 12 years ago when I started with Spa that we would have that kind of that kind of a thing. Thank you, Shantae. Look at that.
Yeah,
Tom Galvin.
Well, that's such a beautiful space there, and as it turned out, where Tom and Owen were playing up under the soffit just before you enter the black box out in front, there's a whole series of lights, and so it was sort of stagey, and then we had the new stand-up tables with the, well, not stand-up, but we have the high-top tables.
Tall boys.
Tall boys,
with tall seats.
So. I thought that was a beer, a tall boy.
It depends on where you're at, I think.
And with a stool, so we've got seating for about 30 in there now, and we weren't quite there. We were about half capacity, but I think we can stage some really nice, intimate concerts. And Tom and Owen kicked it off in great fashion last night.
Yes, they did. I walked in, and just as they were starting up, and Owen was playing Jimi Hendrix. And then Tom tells me that he's only been playing for 2 years, which deflated my balloon. Let me tell you.
You get that early start, and you're a brilliant kid to begin with, a fast learner, and he's learned in so many areas.
Yeah.
He's 17, and he's 17 now.
And he makes his own guitars too, Joe. Just to add to the.
That's made from that's a 3D printer.
I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy.
No, but he's a great kid doing things.
Oh.
He's taking college classes. He's really out of high school now, but he's got to do some last stuff on Zooming with high school, and everybody else is going back. He's required to Zoom because he's also doing a practicum and taking college courses and taking a practicum in IT that's going to be relevant to some aspect of some benefit to the planet, but this is an internship that he's got at 17 years old on a college level. So he's a brilliant kid, brilliant in robotics, and he started playing guitar about 2.5 years ago, and he's put a yeoman's effort into woodshedding and learning it. And so I thought he did as good a job as any lead guitarist I played with over the many years I've been playing music.
He was terrific, really did great with those Jimi Hendrix licks. What term did you just use? Woodshedding?
Woodshedding.
What is that?
Going to the woodshed. That
means something different in a few minutes.
Of course, that's when you're going to get your behind beaten by your dad, who Mom said, you have to go punish him now, and Dad just came home from work saying, why? Just you don't have to know why. Just go spank his little butt. And that wasn't something that happened to me. But you take the kid to the woodshed. That was the expression.
In guitar world, woodshedding means going in and playing until your fingers bleed.
Okay.
It means working and working and working some more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So
I've been woodshedding all through the pandemic. The last time I played out in public was March 15th of 2020, 2 nights before St. Patrick's Day, opening up for One-Eyed Riley.
Oh, at Justin's, that's right.
That was my last gig, and so I've been woodshedding big time and was working on my guitar and writing some stuff. Not writing as much as my guitar work. And it was my first time out. And
really,
I was on it last time. Sometimes you just feel like you're on it.
You were. I told you.
I think it may have been the first gig I've ever played where I would have paid for it.
Yeah.
It
was fantastic.
It was a fun night, and then Joe was down the street. You guys had a nice crowd too.
Yeah, we did. It started a little slow, but it picked up. Actually, our friends Pam Nowak and Lila came by for a little while, and with the Johnsons from Gridley were there. We were actually feeling good too. After the show, everybody was like, "That was so much fun."
Good,
and it was. It was just one of those ones where the audience and we were kind of as one and just having a good time.
Did you get a lot of people dancing?
Yes, we did. We had there was like 6 couples that danced regularly, and then there was some children. The parents got their kids up dancing, and it's like, yes. That's Sweet. Our next generation, man. Get them up there dancing.
Well, great. We've got a little weird news to do. We've got a great guest tonight. This afternoon, Shon Harris is going to be with us talking about film. But we have a weekly or bi-weekly tradition. And do you want to let people know what's going on now with switching to once a month, David?
Yeah, we've, excuse me, as we continue to slowly emerge from the dark COVID ages, although we're all very concerned about, new developments in terms of public health. We're watching and waiting for any additional state guidance. But as we continue to attempt to do more and more live events, we're going to back off a little bit, but not completely, from some of our virtual programming. So Artist Alchemy, the Tuesday afternoon interview that I do with some artists and other creatives, will go to once a month. And then next month in September, we three will, with All About the Arts, will go to once a month. So our next show will be on September 19th. We haven't confirmed the guest for that, but so look for us once a month. And again, you can always find these programs on our Facebook page or our very robust YouTube channel. So just go to Yuba Sutter Arts on YouTube and search on All About the Arts and pop up the latest edition, or look back at other episodes from this past year and a half. It's really, I think we should all be very proud of what we've done to help support the arts even during the darkest days. So.
Well, so once a month is going to be good. Keep you informed and keep us in touch with each other and in touch with the community and sharing that information. And I'll keep on doing weird news half as much, and that's probably okay. Who doesn't love this week's weird news is called "Don't Play Ball." Don't play ball. Who doesn't love a good sports flick? As a kid in the '60s, growing up, this is true. Every time I saw that Newt Rockne All-American was going to be on the late night show and movie and on TV, young people probably don't even know what I'm talking about. The Late Show, the late movie that would follow the 11 o'clock news, and at 11:30, each individual station channel across the country would have some kind of old movie. And this was kind of, some stations would carry old kind of pre-Tonight Show sort of shows. But old movies were what we watched. And so every time Newt Rockne, All-American, was going to be on, I'd watch it. In fact, one night after playing a gig with a band till 2 a.m., I watched that movie in the motel room, and I sat up watching it. And while the bass player and the drummer were crashed on the floor, everybody had been highly intoxicated, and but I saw it was on, and I watched it, and I still, even though we'd played in a bar all night, and there were at least some impairment of my consciousness, I could recite the entire movie. I love that movie. And so one of the great things I liked about Newt Rockne All-American was that Ronald Reagan played George Gibb. Wow. And Ronald Reagan knew how to handle a football. I'm not a great athlete, but I can recognize a great athlete. So having played a bit of football in school, he didn't need a technical advisor to show him how to hold a football. He just looked natural with it, and that's important. And I'm afraid many more modern sports movie actors suffer by comparison. No matter how much coaching they get, the audience still isn't buying it. Awkward is hard to hide. And so I want to give you a few examples. I'm starting with Anthony Michael Hall in Johnny Be Good. There he is. Did you see Johnny Be Good? Did anybody see Johnny Be Good?
I don't know this one, Tom.
It was right after he was coming out of the Breakfast Club and Weird Science. So he was going to be he was looking to be emerging as a new kind of idol, but it's how did the casting directors get together and say to themselves, let's get that geek kid, that weird kid from Weird Science, to play quarterback. One critic said that Hall's performance, it was much more, he said this later in time as he reviewed retrospectively, he said this performance looks a lot more like Hannah Montana than Joe Montana. Russell Crowe in Mystery Alaska. The game is hockey. They cast an Australian actor as a hockey player. You can see the beaches in the background there.
No hockey down under?
No, not a lot of hockey down under. One critic said, in a scene where he is skating alongside his movie wife, I swear she's holding him up. You can kind of check this out. There are multiple game action scenes where if you stare at the puck instead of Crowe's mullet, you can see it's nowhere near the stick. It's pretty bad. Kirsten Dunst and Paul Bettany in Wimbledon. Neither is much good at tennis. In real life, they're not that much. They're not good at it. So during the tennis scenes, this is what we see: tight shot to Paul Bettany's face, cut to tight shot of an elbow tossing the ball in the air, quick movement on the screen, tight shot on the ball hitting the line. The crowd goes wild. The film should have won an Oscar for the greatest number of edits. Keanu Reeves in The Replacements. Though he played a quarterback, he played a character called Johnny Hall in Point Blank. He only had to suit up for when he played Shane Falco in the movie The Replacements.
I've seen that one.
Yeah.
Saw that one.
Pretty good movie.
Yeah, it is. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So Shane Falco. And he didn't have to suit up in the Point Blank, but now he had to put on the uniform, and he also had to throw the football. Not good. This wasn't good for you. He was looking for information from Sean Salisbury, who's an analyst, ESPN analyst, and played quarterback.
Former quarterback,
Yeah. And somebody looked at Keanu's performance and said the producers should have spent the big bucks and brought in Ron Jaworski. So
that's a good quarterback.
Yeah, it's a good quarterback. Maybe
well, you know what? I think Gene Hackman threw the football better than Keanu did.
Well, coach. Again, Gene Hackman probably played football. I don't think Keanu did. I don't know. Let's finish up with everyone's favorite dramatic actor, the inimitable Gary Busey.
I so love that you got Gary in there.
Gary Busey in Big Wednesday. Gross receipts for that movie totaled a little over $4. And Gary Busey's fake surfing against this new thing called a green screen is something shy of an Oscar-winning performance. And that's despite delivering such great lines as, "I like fights. I've dove through windows. I've eaten light bulbs. I like sharks and any kind of blood." That memorable line is delivered by Gary Busey playing Leroy Smith in the thoroughly forgettable Big Wednesday. And the summary song, well, I don't even have a title for it. Let me just whip right into it. You're an actor, that's what they say. There's lots of roles you're called upon to play. But at 5'4", I've got to say, I can't buy you as the hero playing in the NBA. Spent your time in acting class, and you never learned to throw a forward pass. You play a quarterback, that's what this flick's about. But you still act like that football freaks you out. Don't play an athlete if you can't throw a ball, or land a puck, or shoot a shot, or get a horse out of that stall. Don't take roles where you're scoring the big win, and don't take roles in any movie that Gary Busey's in. Weird news for this week.
Oh my God.
Going down to once a month. I'm sure that'll be good for some people.
Classic. Oh, people will be watching that one for years.
Oh, golly. Well, I'm glad you left one of my favorites out of the mix for chastisement. How about Jim Thorpe, All American?
I love Jim Thorpe, and it was
Burt Lancaster.
Burt Lancaster, yeah. I couldn't think of Burt's name.
I know. There's probably some issues there with him playing an indigenous person, but whatever.
I liked Rudy. I liked Rudy. I thought Rudy was
Rudy was well done in that. And Sean Astin, honestly, he still gets a bad rap because I guess he's not the easiest person to work with, but he did a great job in that movie. I mean, you're balling like a baby, and it's like, and he stunk. He was horrible.
Yeah. Hey, we're behind. I went long. I'm sorry. I want to apologize to Sean. And I want to bring our guest up. David, you've known Sean a long time. Do you want to do the introduction?
Absolutely. Please give a big welcome to our guest today, Mr. Shon Harris. Councilman Shon Harris.
Former Mayor Shon Harris.
And there's his chip avatar. Oh, there he is.
There I am.
Welcome, Sean. Great to see you.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks for coming to Tom's concert last evening, our new Artrium Vibes series. Sean's, I think, no stranger to pretty much anybody that might be watching, I think. Of course, a retired captain of the local CHP division, former mayor of Yuba City, current city councilman of Yuba City, and a proud member of the board of directors of the Yuba Sutter Arts Council. So thanks for all your service on so many levels.
Yeah.
Sean, in his afterlife, so to speak, after retirement, is probably one of the busiest retired guys I know. But he came to us, us being Abby and me, and a few months ago, and said, "Hey, what do you think about doing a short film festival?" And I'm a huge film fan. I used to go to short film festivals. I've been to them at the Crest where you can actually see the nominated short films each year for the Academy Awards. Live action and animated, and I've always loved the genre. And we said, okay, why not? We know there are local professional filmmakers, but hey, we're all filmmakers, so to speak. We've all got this incredible machine strapped to our hip or in a pocket somewhere or a purse, and we said, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Sean, your enthusiasm for this project was infectious. So we quickly established some guidelines. We thought, okay, what are the rules? Well, how about 13 minutes or less? I don't know where we came up with that, but trying to keep it tight. And all the principal photography has to have been done in Yuba Sutter. And so other than that, we said, okay, categories could be documentary, scripted film, animation, music video. As far as other categories, we'll have a professional category, amateur category, student category. But beyond that, it's just, do something, make a film and send it in. We've already gotten, I think, probably 8 or 10 submissions.
Oh, wow.
The momentum is starting to build. And so here we are. So we want to talk to you as kind of the founder of this idea. And then maybe even if you want to shed a little light on your project, we'd love to hear about it.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's I always been impressed with the way I come to you with an idea, or not just me, but a lot of people just come with you an idea and you immediately latch on. I don't think no is in your vocabulary, David. So I really appreciate that.
Here.
Don't tell Abby.
She already knows.
I won't. But yeah, it was exciting, and so we've never really had anything, to my knowledge, of that that's homegrown here in Yuba Sutter. And the idea, I was being kind of interested in the process of filmmaking. And Bettany, a few years back, she was in a short film for a festival down in Sacramento that was actually held at the Crest.
And can you tell us who Bettany is, if anybody doesn't know out there?
Yeah, sorry. Bettany's my daughter.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and she's a graduate of Marysville Charter Academy for the Arts, and she's been active in the acting company for years, written several plays there, and that led to her appearance in this short film in Sac. I think it was called a place called Sacramento Film Festival.
Yeah. And she's delightful, so I just want to make sure everybody knows who she is.
Yeah.
So she's helping with that. So I thought I came today. Now that I am retired and had a little bit of breathing room, I thought, well, let's start up this hobby, and so I got on YouTube and started binging. I had no idea. I knew what I wanted to do, but I had no idea how to do it. So YouTube, and you start watching all these different things, and eventually it kind of creeps in your head. You get an idea. Well, I might be able to actually do something here,
right?
And so between YouTube and going crazy on Amazon, I've got all this stuff and just enough knowledge to be dangerous. And so I'm like a monkey with a machine gun. I swear.
I'm curious, when you
but
say
I'm going to do it.
When you're saying YouTube, were you looking at like tutorial, instructional videos about how to make film, or were you looking at films made that people put on YouTube? What exactly were you getting from your?
That's a good question. Where I mostly went was how to.
Yeah.
Equipment. What are the techniques? And I learned so much just by watching that. And then you can watch the BTS stuff of different films and how they're made and what they're doing and the work that goes into. We've all heard the story how they do so much time, money, and effort for something that when it gets to film, it's a matter of seconds.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And I just find that interesting, and I can appreciate it. When I watch movies now, I have found myself, even by default, just there's this lighting or that lighting, or there had to have been a light back there, or the timing and the different types of cameras and the angles and the shots, and it's just interesting, and how it all comes together, and how much work and deliberate effort goes into every little thing.
Every aspect.
And
I don't, analogously, I don't hear songs anymore. I hear the bass and the lead guitar, or I hear something. And so I hear what you're saying. That we deconstruct what we used to just see as a construction, a whole, go to the movie. And now making them, you start to deconstruct. You start to go backwards and break it
Live
apart.
theater is exactly the same. Yeah.
It's interesting how that is, because it kind of pulls the curtain back on the magic a little bit. But still, as long as you can kind of step in and be a part of it, and then use that as a platform to create your own, it's awesome. And that's of course what's brought us here today.
Are you saying that you have a submission of your own? You have a
Well, I don't have it yet. I'm in the process of shooting it, but I'm making I don't know if it's an actual phrase, but I call it a biodocumentary, biodoc for short, because it's a biography and it's done interview style and there's no fiction involved. But my grandmother, my mom's mom, she's still with us and she's 92 years old. And she is a presence. We'll just say the things that she's been through, and it's amazing. And so I thought, well, I can show tribute to my grandmother. I can have something in perpetuity for my family, my kids, and my grandchildren, and on the way down the line. And at the same time, have fun with it, and learn a lot, and contribute to this festival at the same time. And it's going to be the first of many. If I have my intentions,
don't stop
way.
Now. Don't stop now.
Yeah. So
I'm wondering
how it goes.
How much did you rely on family albums, pictures? I'm guessing. I'm just trying to think of some Ken Burns thing, and how you'll hear interviews, you'll see interviews, you sometimes see some film things, and then you'll see a collage perhaps of still pictures, still photographs from various. Did she have a kind of a treasure trove of items that you could film or be part of her story, or is it more of a narrative?
It's going to be a combination. We haven't done. We're still getting the content together now, so we'll see what the proportions are once we get the editing down. I do have family photographs. And I do have, I've done interviews with family members. I'm going to try to get some interviews with her friends. And then just combination of all that, not just photographs and the people, but also like her snail collection.
Recollections and stuff.
Right. Things like that.
Her snail collection?
Her snail collection. And,
quite normal, Tom. My wife's got a unicorn collection.
I was just going to ask Shon if there was a little bit of a teaser. I know I don't want to have you give up too much of the narrative about your grandmother, who I'm guessing is an amazing woman by virtue of the fact that you're making a film about her, so she must be. But I was going to ask you, can you give us a little teaser or something that might draw us in? And before I could ask that question, you referred to her snail collection.
Snail collection, right?
So I think mission accomplished.
These are all right.
Yeah. In itself, that's interesting.
And she feeds them all every day.
Well,
I'm kidding.
Less than that, I might have to make a 911 call if she didn't.
Actually, I have that kind of snail collection out in the yard, and I feed them every day.
Yeah.
So I can go on and on. She's an amazing, unique. They broke the mold. They guarantee it.
Yeah. One of the things that I think can be useful from that, without saying too much about the narrative of your grandmother, is that this kind of thing kind of can inspire us all to kind of look at the heroics in our family histories, the untold stories, and the interest. We have, many of us have ancestors that came over on boats, and so, but still, like even 20th century ancestors, a grandfather from 1950, what did he go through? What did she go through? Grandmother go through? And what are the stories? So I think this can prompt other people to think about the gold in their family history.
When our literacy program with the education I work with, what's one of the things we're pushing with the parents, it's like the family stories. Indigenous people use that as their verbal history of how things were, and it's like we don't do that anymore. And I applaud you. We really should spend more time talking to our parents about what was life like. when they were alive, or when they were alive.
Yeah.
We're still alive.
I've got to say that was part of my motive too, is to, in America, I think, unfortunately, we don't put as much focus or importance on our elderly as some countries do. And I think we're doing ourselves a disservice for that. And if you see an elderly person driving down the road, walking down the sidewalk or whatever, that's a walking history book, and it's just a huge amount of information right there if they just would be asked. I mean, I learned something all the time when I talk to her. Another thing is I learned just yesterday that she grew up in Minnesota and would have to walk 3.5 miles each direction. She didn't say uphill both ways, but she had to walk 3.5 miles each direction. And when the snow got too deep, her dad would take her and her 6 brothers, I believe. Anyway, her dad would take her in a horse and sleigh to school.
Yeah. So
in Minnesota, little things like that.
6 brothers. Any idea where where did she fit in the family lineage?
She was right in the middle. I've got it all written down. It's kind of hard to. Even she, bless her heart, she sometimes forgets where it all is, but she's right in there, right in the middle.
Well, there's a lot of lore about the middle child. If you can just make it be the little middle child, then that's an aspect to a character that you can just throw that in. Even if she wasn't, poetic license.
Yeah.
What was your process putting the film together? I know you were learning while you were, developing the project. Did you storyboard it or write an outline, or just jump in, start filming, and then figure it out later?
Well, no, we had an outline, and there are websites and there are apps that will help you plan all this out. I'm not the most technological guy, which is really strange. Here I am with all this camera equipment and editing stuff, and so everything is learning.
Sure.
But I did like I do every other project. I start with a big blank wall, and I just throw ideas against it, right? Yeah. And then when you get it all, just barf it all out on the wall.
Yeah.
And then you start putting it in some type of order, and that translated into the plot, which we haven't quite got done yet. But it also we extricated a shot list, and so we need to get a shot of this, and this. We want to ask these questions of these people, and so everybody has their own piece of paper, and we go through and do it that way. And then once we get it all, we come in here in the editing. That's where it all gets sorted even more. So.
Well, to your earlier point too about how now when you're watching film or whatever, that hands-on experience really kind of informs your viewing, and I don't think it ruins the experience. Anytime I've taken on a new, I did a little oil painting a few years ago, and I'd never done that, and not continuing it, but just that process, and I think it really enhances your appreciation when you watch a film and you go, oh wow, was that available light? Or are they bouncing off the ceiling? Like, what are they doing? Or the editing process. You can appreciate that now on a whole different level. I think that's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, it really is. And how you talk to these directors, you get these interviews with directors and whatnot, and how they did certain things on purpose. And you kind of know certain moods are created, by a wide shot or the dark lighting or the background music and things like that. But other little things to help, you have this je ne sais quoi sometimes. What makes a cinema movie versus a home movie? What's different? And you try to pick that apart, and then pretty soon you have this recipe of this is really the lighting and the cinematics, right? And then you have some directors, I think, for example, Quentin Tarantino, he has a cameo in every movie of it he makes. Or other people might they'll put like foreshadowing things early on to tell later, but you don't know it until they point it out. So just tiny little Easter eggs that they put in there for themselves for the fun of it. So it's really
any favorite directors or films?
Tarantino definitely is one. I really like him. It's interesting how you see different ones. Was it Scorsese? I mean, he does well. Spielberg, of course. There's a lot of them out there, and there's one. I don't know the guy's name, but the one he directed Tombstone, which is one of my favorite movies.
Zemeckis? Was that Zemeckis?
Oh,
Zemeckis?
I don't know. I know he has an accent of some sort, but I'm not sure what his name is or where he's from. But anyway, yeah.
That was a really good movie. Yeah, I'm. Are you calling me, Tom?
Not anymore. I hit the phone to find out who directed Tombstone, and I managed to call you, Joe.
George. I don't know him. George Cosmatos.
Oh, Cosmatos.
Well, it's a great movie. Val Kilmer stole that movie. I think he was just excellent in it. And
that was well balanced, I thought. Considering they had so many high-powered people in there.
Shon,
the balance was good.
Yeah, Shon, I want to ask. It has to be shot within the boundaries of Yuba Sutter. How much environment is? I mean, that's a factor. Is part of entering into this that there's some scenery in your movie. There's some background in your video or something. Does environment play a role in these movies? In your movie in particular, or do you show Yuba Sutter?
The one we're doing is pretty much interview style, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's hard to kind of quantify or kind of put some scenes. We have some of her outside of her house, but there's no real scenes that are taking place acting wise.
So in this case, it's just somebody who has a long history of being here and
the rules, though. I really like where Tom went with this, because I have a friend who's working on an original story, and it's a piece of fiction. But he and his wife have gone out hiking, and he's taken some footage in the mountains. They've gone to Fort Bragg and taken footage there, but he's also included iconic footage here, like Sutter Theater, the Buttes and stuff. Does that qualify? Does that fit?
Yeah, as long as it's mostly, we say as long as most of the principal photography was in Yuba Sutter, but, some folks are working on animated films. As long as they're locals, we don't have a problem with that. We've even talked to some out of area filmmakers, and we've said, hey, go ahead and submit. It'll come with a qualifier that
disclaimer,
not for competition, but just to build content, because we want to wind up with a 2-hour program.
Yeah.
We're hoping we'll publish in advance the titles and the schedule for when each film will be screened, and so come one, come all. We want to have a great show, a great experience for everybody.
That's exciting. I have a lot of friends that are my filmmaker friend. He's never made a film in his life, but Shon's idea prompted him to do this, and now he's a retired gentleman that has suddenly found a new passion.
That's awesome. Is he local, Joe?
Yeah. He's actually, it's Ed Hudson. He's a guitar player in the band I'm in, Cadillac Ride.
And he's gonna make a film for the festival.
He is working on it. I told him he's got 2 weeks. He said he shot his last scene at the beach, and now he's down to editing. But he's shown me some excerpts. He's got some stuff already put together.
During the pandemic, Ed started to put out songs, and he was doing some short videos with kind of green screen stuff that he was making, and then he'd be in front. I remember a train thing coming down the tracks, and he's singing a train song. So he started to dabble with this, but I think you were the inspiration, Shon, from what I gather.
For a full, I think he's going to try for 7 to 8 minutes. So
that's great.
And you just mentioned that 7 to 8 minutes is days and days worth of work. It's not. It doesn't just fall together. Quickly.
And planning and it's a lot of work, but it'll be good. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
You're gonna have any music, Shon? You're gonna have some background music, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
That's another.
How you do that, I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
Well, you're a technical advisor, Beth will help you. So.
Yeah. I know you just add the clip and then you have to shave it so it fades in and out or whatever on the onions and whatnot and the layers. But so we'll see what happens.
We love this whole project. We're just so excited and love what we've gotten so far. And like Joe, we've heard from a lot of people that are out working on films. So gosh knows what we'll wind up with.
We just want to have fun with it. I kind of want to think big and make it be something that hopefully we have every year, and it's something that people strive for and want to have on their wall. and play it up. I mean, let's do a red carpet. Let's do a photo thing. And make a poster. I got a poster made for Grandma's movie, and why not? Let's have fun with it, right?
I like red carpet. I like opening night. The atrium, the atrium is a beautiful place.
We've got our new projectors arriving tomorrow. Our big projector for the Sutter Theater Center for the Arts. So our friend Chris Bolton's working on the sound system to get us started, and so we should be ready for prime time at the Sutter Theater.
But I have to ask about the parameters. Shon, David started out talking about some of the qualifiers or parameters of submissions. Did you already have this conceptualized as what David described at the beginning, that there has to be we have to do it within Sutter Yuba. It has to be so much time. Was this all your concept at the very beginning of all this, or did you just want to make a movie and took it?
Well, I wanted to make one, but then when you start talking about the festival, you don't want to have it. We don't want to start out too big, multi-day, multi-venue, all this stuff. Maybe someday, who knows? But so we wanted to have short enough to where we can have an intro in the beginning. So we figured 15 minutes a person, right? 15 minutes a shot, which would be a minute before and a minute after if you have a 13-minute film. And if some people are doing 7 or 8 minutes, that's even better because we can squeeze more in. But we didn't want to we weren't sure of the response we were going to get. And it sounds like we've already had a lot of very good response, which is great. So we weren't sure about that. So we just kind of found a happy medium of 15 minutes per entry, which would give us, 6 or 8 for a 2-hour program.
So you came to David with this idea, and then the two of you kind of knocked out the bylaws or the parameters. Is that
Abby as well? Yeah,
and Abby as well.
And I think, we both, I think primarily David took the time to research criteria in other festivals as well to kind of mirror those, and took the stuff that he liked, and we put it all into this program. I do like the idea, and one thing I kind of stood in the door on was being filmed locally in Yuba and Sutter. There are certain things or certain features geographically in our community that it will make it pretty obvious that it was shot here, right? I would say, even though we like those, we like the Buttes, we like the Fountain, we like the Water Tower, we like Ellis Lake, we like all this stuff. But I'm going to challenge myself, and maybe to where we make it here, but you can't necessarily tell it was made. Find some hidden parts of our community that no one knows about, and put that in there, and have them actually accuse you of not making it here, and say, "Nope, here it is. I'll drive you right there."
That's great.
Just a little challenge like that, right? Well, we have so many cool bridges and architecture and physical features that are there's plenty.
Hiking places to hike that I've been discovering since I've been here the last 6 years. That sometimes I go to these places and there's nobody there, and I'm thinking, have I just discovered something new? But probably not. But yeah, I see what you're saying. But I have another question about David. You said something about people with their phones. Can people submit?
Absolutely. If somebody wants to go out and do a 2 or 3 or 1 minute video of something, and send it in, if they can put a title page on it. I mean, we're not restricting anybody. So we've done a ton of little, as interviews using our iPhones for different projects or programs we're working on. Interviews with the Native. I'm not planning to submit one, but I interviewed a couple of our Native American artists who are exhibiting in our gallery right now. I mean, if that's your thing and you've got a little story to tell, and hey, go for it. Send it in. We want as much variety as we can get.
Will everybody be featured? Everybody that sends in?
Absolutely, as long as it's community appropriate. I mean, it can't be anything too funky or raunchy, obviously, but yeah, absolutely. I see no reason if we'll publish the schedule, and so if you just want to come see your film on the big screen, that's great. So you'll know in advance when your film will be screened, and then. Again, we're hoping for 2 hours. If it's 3 hours, so be it.
What if they're lousy?
Well,
it's not for us.
I've never been to karaoke, Tom.
But you're also talking about But you're talking about audience as well.
It's
You're
getting
talking
up there is the point. It's not about whether
That's
you're
right.
good or not. It's showing up, and I love this idea. And honestly, I had given up on it. I have a little idea of my own, and I was going to put it together, but I'm like, man, I don't have time. And you're saying just a couple minutes. It's like, you know what? I think I can do it.
Why not?
I really do.
Yeah, and and to your point, Tom, Rotten Tomatoes will not be allowed in the theater. I can tell you.
Well, I get it, but who will pay to come in and see it? If there isn't a certain kind of guaranteed quality level, is always my concern with these things. Sometimes
Friends,
we say,
relatives.
we want everybody to
Right.
come, and we've always done that with the poetry thing. And we get people that just have no idea about anything regarding poetry, and then people that do stop coming. I mean, it's
yeah.
so we have a little bit of problem with. We want everybody to be involved, but we also want to encourage that these are crafts and skills. And just because you have a phone doesn't mean you're a movie maker.
That's a good point, Tom. And we're going to learn a lot this time around. Year 2 will be different and better. So that was kind of our approach, I think, is let's just throw a bunch of stuff on the wall and see what sticks and see what people come up with. And, oh, gee, we'll never do that again. Or, wow, that
I hope we do it again, but I hope we also encourage people to get better at their arts.
Yeah, of
better,
course.
whatever their art form is.
Yeah.
It's not, the people that say, I'll never be as good as that guy, so I'm never going to. Well, no, just get better. I mean, be better tomorrow than you are today.
What Shon has shared, though, has pointed out that it's not as easy as it looks. I don't, if we do, I'm sure that they're going to get some of these, just somebody wandering down the street with a iPhone talking to themselves. But I think that the people I've talked to are putting an enormous amount of work into it.
I would think so, and those people should know. No, we're not to judge the quality of that work. Whoever puts the time in and does good work should get featured.
Yeah.
But I just think that's a little different than somebody that's breezing down the street with their cell phone. I don't see encouraging that as a great artistic advance.
Come on, are you a fan of Andy Warhol? How about his Empire State Building? Come on, that crow flying through was pretty dramatic.
Did I love the soup can? I love the soup better.
So, but yeah, we'll see. And
these are issues that can be talked about.
Next year, maybe it's sort of like pre-adjudicating some of the mural projects. We get a bunch of submissions. Some are pre-selected before they go to the committee. So we've done some of that.
Please don't get me wrong, Shon. What I think you're doing is just inspirational. And I think it's spreading out, and other people are wanting to do this, and that I hope, in addition to just making movies, that you think, what's the process? What are the tools? What are the intricacies? Am I somebody that just wants to, hey, look at me, I'm a movie maker, or do I want to take the time in any art form that I choose to be disciplined about it and to learn the skill, the craft, the trade, whatever you want to call it, and encourage that. Really have that be part of what
I think that's a very good point, because the bottom line is taking it seriously, right? And put something in that you're proud of. If someone really takes it seriously and they're proud of it, and it's crap, okay, but you know what? Knock yourself out. Let's put my arm around you. We'll go have a chat, and get better for next time. But it will be good, because I think there will, if something is obviously going to embarrass somebody, if we put it out there in the public.
Yeah.
That's their movie.
David, if you walk up to me, put your arm around me, I'm not going to be offended.
All right.
Hey, let's have a chat. You're going to be embarrassed yourself, Shon. But one thing about the iPhone, though, real quick, you guys go on YouTube. That's been my shoot. But anyway, there are communities solely dedicated to making movies with iPhones.
Oh yeah.
And that is really, really high quality. I started out, before I bought this camera here, I was going to do the iPhone. And I tell you, I bought a gimbal for it, and that thing, you can have what they call LUTs or filters, where you can make it look completely cinematic, and control that gimbal and zoom and everything just without even touching the phone.
Yeah,
it is incredible.
You just described some technical elements of how a good shot could be made from your phone, which to me is a learning process in itself. And that's all I'm saying is, are we saying, hey, come on in, get involved with this process. Get involved with your art, have a relationship with it, and then share what you have. I think that's really important.
Yeah. Yeah, and to your points, yes, you're absolutely right. We'll pre-screen, of course, everything, and I mean, if something is just stupid junk and not at all with any kind of intent of quality, then we may kick it out. We haven't established any guidelines, and I think we'll know if we see it and it's just totally inappropriate.
If we're at 6+ entries already, we're already pushing the 2-hour mark anyway.
Yeah.
They're not all the full length. Some of them are 4 and 5 minutes, though, Sean. So
okay.
We got a couple
good.
shorts.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if someone takes it seriously and they can maybe describe what they're doing and why and what their intent was, what thought they went into it, you can tell that they're a word I've used is legitimate.
Yeah.
We don't want this, we don't want a participation awards and feel good and everything. We want it to be legitimate. We want it to be something that people take seriously, and if they have it on their wall, people who come in the room know that it means something.
Yeah, we're working on award plaques.
There's a little difference there,
There's a little bit of prize money. We've kind of kept that part of it, low key. We'll be writing more about that in the weeks to come. But September 19th is the deadline, so everybody's got, almost 3 weeks or so to pull it together and finish up your entries. So there is a little competitive aspect to it, but and film is kind of in the air in the community. Sean and I are on a committee started by Marnie Sanders at the Chamber of Commerce to create a Yuba Sutter Film Commission. And this is a little different. This is to help outside production companies coming into our area, help them create whatever their film is, whether it's a commercial or feature length or documentary, just to facilitate that, that process. And our neighbors to the north, Shasta County, their film commission, multi-county commission up there has literally brought in millions of dollars by having those resources available. So I love that there's all this kind of talk around film going on where, we can support outside filmmakers and celebrate local hometown filmmakers as well. So.
Well, there's a history. The Yuba College has had film production classes there. You guys remember Stacy Smith Johnson?
Sure.
She used to do film with that group, and they teach all levels of production out there. So we've had film buffs here working. And then, Tom, I really think the opportunity for some people to share stories, kind of like Sean is doing with his mom, there's a grandmother, there's so many people that have these stories that they want to tell. I bet you if you could get a hold of Dick Marquette and get a film can in his hand, that guy would tell you tons of stories. So that opportunity is what I'm excited about.
Yeah.
There's so many great stories here.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think every family has stories within it that are sometimes unexplored, forgotten. People die unrecognized for having brilliant lives that should be noticed. And so hats off to Sean for that, setting that example. I think that's a great thing.
There have been a couple of local films being produced this last couple of months. Livia's House is one. I've reached out to that director and producer and said, hey, have you got a short on this or a trailer? I mean, why not, enter it? We'd love to see it. And Matt Tomozik's working on something. I've invited him to send in something, but we're hoping they'll get on board too.
Doug Criddle has I think you talked to him. He has a film that he finished years ago about the town of Hamilton that they just up and moved.
The Hamilton boys. Yeah.
Hamilton boys,
if he could do a condensed version, that would be great. Yeah, it's a great story.
Sean, you've got this one in the works, and featuring the life of your grandmother. I'm sorry. Do you have a second project in mind? Is there any any feeling about maybe a fictional production? What's next for you?
I don't know the script yet. I have certain ideas that came to mind. I have an idea. Oh, this would be funny, or this would be a cool place to shoot. But then you have to figure, how do I work that into a plot? You gotta have a plot. I don't know, call me crazy, but you gotta have that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Terrible, Tom.
That's a lot of the stuff. The one-liners, that would be funny to be in a movie, but how does it fit and where and how and who's doing it? So, a gal for my birthday last month, a friend of mine have you guys ever heard of that website Cameo?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
well,
Yeah.
she did kind of like a pseudo cameo for me for my birthday. One of my favorite local bands is Coles and Company.
Yep.
And the gal Lynn Coles, I think she's beautiful. She's got a beautiful voice. I had her sing at my retirement party, or the whole band. Anyway, so they had her say happy birthday to me and sing a phrase or two from a song that I liked by Chris Stapleton. And so I called her up and said, "Hey, I'm learning filmmaking. Let's do a music video of you guys doing your thing." And so she's all about that. So I'm gonna work on that.
Coles and Company, aren't they rhythm and blues? Is that
They do Earth, Wind, and Fire.
They did those home concerts that you were producing.
That's
Joe.
right.
They're great. I love them.
They're incredibly good.
Wonderful and a sweet person. And
her husband.
So I figured, what the heck? Let's try that.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I don't think it's fair, Tom. You're treating him like George Lucas. He's not even done with the first one, and you're asking about the sequel.
I like the way you think, Tom.
Gotta be thinking ahead.
Have
that 5-year vision. Have that big vision out there.
So, well, again, the deadline is September 19th. Get your films ready and get them over to us. And there's a simple registration form. Doesn't cost anything to enter. So and then we're planning our big day-long festival on October 2nd at the Sutter Theater Center for the Arts. So get ready, come out, submit, and come on the day of and enjoy a bunch of great local filmmaking.
Is there a start time, David, yet established?
We haven't set it. We were kind of just waiting until we see how much content we have, and then we can decide what's appropriate.
Okay.
Is it a late afternoon, evening thing? Is it a midday? It just depends. If we got 5 hours of material, well, we might have to split it up into 2 days. We're keeping an open mind, and more the merrier.
Great for the first time. Have to split it up already.
That would be something.
We'll have to get the red carpet dry cleaned in between shows.
Absolutely.
Shon, we have really enjoyed having you as our guest today. It's rare that we go right up to the top of the hour with our guests, but you really kicked off a stimulating project here. You've been kind of linchpin of getting this thing started, and there's a lot of film excitement around the community. And thanks for your part in it. Thanks for being the progenitor and getting this thing and your work with David. I think we're all going to be very blessed by this, and a lot of creativity is going to flow. And I'm personally going to learn all I can about movies made with cell phones, because obviously I'm unenlightened, and I will learn more.
If you're serious about that, I can turn you on to a really good gimbal that I got for my iPhone. It's amazing, the stuff you can do.
I would like to know more. I'd like to, because
I'd like to know more. I've got an iPhone, and I've got a Mac computer with iMovie on it, which I've heard is pretty fun. So
we'll set you up for a master's class, Shon.
Yep.
Oh,
I'll sign up.
I can barely turn the computer on. Yeah, I'm still learning, but like I said, I know what I want to do. I just don't know how to do it yet. But we learn every bit. Take a lot of deep breaths. But
that's the art. That's the art, is the learning of it. The learning of it. As soon as you think you know it all, you don't know anything. It's total depth.
Can't wait for the world premiere of yours and lots of other great films here locally.
Nice.
So,
fun.
Shon,
thanks you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure.
All right.
We'll see you soon.
All right.
Wow.
Shon's back in the green room now, and we're here wrapping up. We don't have a lot of time left.
I just want to highlight a few incredible things that are coming up in the community. First of all, as most of you know, we had to shut down our galleries last year, as Tom said, right around St. Patrick's Day. And we've had no actual ongoing art exhibits in either our gallery in Marysville or the theater gallery over in Yuba City. What we are opening with will just blow your socks off. It's a show called Birds of a Feather. We have 5 native California Indian artists who we have recruited's not the right word. We've been blessed to meet. One of our sister arts councils, El Dorado County, had a show of their work a couple of months ago. We went over, we saw it, we were amazed. And they very kindly made the introductions, and after a series of conversations, we got these great artists to agree to come over to Yuba Sutter and display their work. And what you'll see in the gallery in Marysville is both some 2D art, some paintings, digital drawings, acrylics, but also 3-dimensional work. what's called traditional ecological knowledge, TEK, where a lot of the traditional techniques handed down from centuries of working with natural materials, horn, bone, antlers, skins, fibers, roots, the basket making process. And this is all on display in our gallery. You walk in, it's like nothing I've ever seen in our community. So the show's in from from August 20 through September 30th. And we've got we did an interview online that you can find on our YouTube channel with these 5 artists the other day. But then on September 11th, Saturday, September 11th, from 5 to 8 p.m., we've got an artist panel discussion and opening reception. So come out, please, and welcome these incredible artists and celebrate the work that we have. This coming Saturday, we've got kind of a special event at the Sutter Theater Center for the Arts. We've done a series of programs called Art Fixes, kind of an art smorgasbord, if you will, like they do at the Crocker Museum. They call it Art Mix. Here we call it Art Fix. We've done virtuals. This is our first live Art Fix, and we've chosen Burning Man as the theme. We have a Wicker Man that will be set up in the theater. We're not going to literally light it on fire, of course, but I think you'll be amazed with little special effects and some lighting and fabric. We're going to simulate that culmination of the Burning Man Festival that occurs most years in the Nevada desert. Of course, it didn't happen last year. It didn't happen this year. We've got artists coming in. We've got jugglers. We've got African drum and dancers. We've got Zumba class that's going to happen. So this is kind of, hands-on participatory stuff. Lots of great food and drink. So come out and enjoy kind of a Burning Man experience. We'll have a custom-made Burning Man video with clips from actual Burning Man events and sort of a retrospective of some of that incredible art that winds up in that Nevada desert every couple of years. I've never been. My daughter's now a certified burner. She's been a couple of years, and she wouldn't miss it. So she'll be back out there next year, I'm sure. But come and join in and appreciate that experience. It'll be a lot of fun. So lots of other great things coming up. Keep an eye on us on YouTube and Facebook. And, of course, you can always go to YubaSutterArts.org for up-to-the-minute happenings.
All right. Well, again, thanks to Shon Harris for being our guest today.
Indeed.
And it was good to see you two guys. We're going to be back September 19th for our solo show in September, and we'll be going to once a month after that as the world opens back up, and we can see you people, everybody out there face to face instead of over Zoom.
Stay safe so we can keep doing the live stuff,
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, gentlemen. Wash your hands.
There you go.
All right. Good to see you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.